What's going on, everybody? Wesley and Brian here, back at it again, doing another episode of the Trading Post Pawncast.
Welcome back.
Well, hey, it's good to be back.
Yep.
Glad to have you back too, boss.
Well, it's been a rough week or two.
I thought he's only going to be gone a week. We'll be all right. Well, he's really gone 2 weeks.
Well, nothing works out as planned, so I don't know what that stuff was, but I was the porcelain king for about 24 hours, let me tell you. It was terrible. Anyway, good to be back. I'm mostly back.
We got a good show for everyone. We got a bunch of good topics to talk about. We're gonna talk about collectibles and specifically graded collectibles tonight. An update about the jewelry. We talked about jewelry a couple weeks back. We got the doofus of the week.
And nobody will probably find that one as entertaining as I do, but it's kind of personal. So, and it's not me this time.
But before we get too deep, we gotta give the hair update. We've seen the comments. We know the love we were getting from our last hairdos.
You know, I'm surprised the perm didn't last longer than that.
But
what was it, 2 weeks? Mine was gone.
2 weeks and gone.
Yeah, not bad.
My buzz job, it's slowly coming back.
Yeah.
But it's okay because we just got in these brand new Trading Post hats. This is like our branded merch.
That's right.
This is like
super high quality.
High quality leather. We got these out on the sales floor.
We don't know what the price is.
We don't know because we got them in today.
Yeah,
we got them in today.
We're the first ones to sport them.
But Ponda Bear's digging it.
Yeah,
he's digging it. So what do we got on this jewelry update?
Hopefully some people watched the last episode. We was kind of talking about retail versus wholesale.
Yep.
Kind of how the big box chain stores do it and our kind of opinion of how that works. Run across a couple quick examples this week of what I was talking about. So last episode we talked about people go pay a lot of money for the ring. How do they come up with that price? Where do they get there when they bring it to a wholesaler and want to sell it? A couple perfect examples of what I'm talking about. I was on eBay. We was talking about lab-grown stones last week. So I run across a couple examples. 2 carat lab-grown, 14 karat gold band, $893. Another 2 carat, different cut, which makes it a little more desirable. 14 karat gold, $1,165. Not too bad. I mean, it's lab grown. It's not a real stone. I thought, you know what? We're going to jump over to one of the big box stores, big chains. I'm not going to say which one. I'm not going to get into a shouting match with them. Here's their 2 carat, 14 karat gold yellow. Guarantee you're within $50 of gold weight. $3,800. So, $1,165, $900 versus $3,800. So when I talk about retail markup, that is what I'm talking about. Obviously, both people had them manufactured. They both bought them probably from the same place.
And this isn't like a scam on eBay. The blue check mark, the eBay authenticity, you have to send jewelry to eBay. They authenticate it, and then they proceed with the sale.
Yep, sure do.
So it's not like a fly-by-night, you had a 1 review, 1 star. This is like actual authentic jewelry off eBay.
When we was kind of walking through those numbers last week, these kind of jumped out at me. But if you get on eBay, and there's other places that wholesale jewelry, not just eBay. I just happened to be on there and seen them. You know, it's a real eye-opener to see the percentage of markup. I mean, they're both come from a manufacturer. So one company can't say, well, that is manufactured. Well, they both come from somewhere. So that's not even in the equation at this point.
Yeah.
Just one's a wholesaler, one's a retailer.
Yep.
So remember that when you bring, your ring in here, we're going to have the conversations we've been having. Another thing too, I tell people, the last, probably 3 or 4 of these we've done, we've had some really good information. So if you want to know how a pawn shop works, take a minute. I don't know if that was episode 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I'm probably the only pawnbroker that took the time to break down what we charge, why we charge it, how it all works, and how much money we really make doing it. I doubt you'll find that anywhere else.
No.
But we're upfront about what we charge. And like I said, pawn shops, there's a great place for them. They're needed. Just like credit cards. You need to do them the right way, take care of your business. That's kind of my update on the jewelry. I just thought that was interesting. Now that we've offended an entire industry, who are we going to offend tonight?
Now we're going to talk about, it's controversial, the grading companies.
Oh, you mean like on our comic books?
Comic books, cards, coins. It's going to be a fun one. We got like 2 segments for this. We're going to talk about grading practically. Like, what does it practically mean? Why should you grade something? Should you not grade it? What grading company do you use? When you bring it in here to the trading post, what does it really get you? And kind of the understanding of, we know our market, right? And so what does it benefit you here? And then we're also going to talk about the dicey stuff, the tinfoil hat stuff. Who owns these grading companies? I mean, you can just look up the hashtag grading is a scam, and it's all over the place. So there's a bunch of good stuff we're going to talk about tonight. Real good information.
You know what? You brought up a good point. Kind of rolling off our last 2 or 3 episodes, you talked about this as our market. That's one thing we should have talked about. We do use eBay, Amazon, we use a lot of different places to come up with prices of how we decide what we're going to do on something. At the end of the day, this building, this 80 by 80 building, is my market. And so I'm going to decide what can I get for it in here. I don't necessarily care what they're online for, what Amazon's selling them for. If it's an item that I know I'm going to sell off my floor, it's going to be based on what can I get at the trading post in Marion, Indiana.
Yeah.
So that was something I wanted to touch on. Everybody kind of knows that we look things up sometimes. And when you're using eBay, we always look at sold. That's real money. You can list it for whatever you want. But there's a lot of items that come in. I can only factor it. What can I sell it for in my shop?
Yep.
So I just wanted to clarify that.
And if you took our shop out of it and said, okay, I'm buying something strictly knowing I got to sell it on eBay or got to sell it at an auction house, that dramatically cuts down what you could pay for something.
Yeah, I'm going to add, 40% in fees and labor on the outside?
Yeah.
Because there's items we sell. In fact, we sold an item today. It was a drill bit. The guy got it. He should be the doofus of the week. I don't know what he put that steel bit, concrete or something, said it was bent. Well, it does that when they're not properly used. But
kind of like running a chainsaw with no oil in the bar.
We had that this week too. Yeah, you're supposed to put oil in them.
Yeah.
But kid was nice. We helped him out a little bit. But by the time we took the fees and the shipping, eBay made more money than we did.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I refunded the guy's money, even though it was user error. Just, it's a drill bit. It isn't worth losing a customer over. We'll, maybe do business down the road. But a lot of factors there.
Yeah. To kick things off, the collectibles that we're going to talk about tonight are mostly comics, cards, and coins.
You notice if I don't say much, it's because I don't know much.
Well, I'm going to carry you, boss.
Thank you.
But
the Pokemon King is going to carry me.
Those are really the only collectibles we see in here. I've never seen a graded video game walk in our doors.
They do that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Who knew?
I've never seen a graded VHS tape walk in our doors.
Do you ever seen a VHS tape?
Oh, I have.
Okay.
But if you have like the original Star Wars VHS tapes or the original Indiana Jones VHS tapes graded in a high grade
and sealed,
they'll bring some money. Most collectibles that are graded, they're meant just to be displayed and looked at.
People got too much money and they'll pay it.
Yeah, that's true.
John Wayne on Blu-ray high definition. Holy crap. It's like watching it again for the first time. I would pay $15 for a Blu-ray John Wayne if I needed it.
Yeah.
Just a sidebar. I digress.
I think you can grade Blu-rays and DVDs.
I'd rather watch them.
I'd have to look. The three main graded collectibles that come into our shop are graded comics, graded cards, and graded coins. And there's basically two big grading companies in the United States today. If we would have filmed this back in February, there would have been three major grading companies. But back in February, Collectors Holdings, used to be called Collectors Universe. They bought out Beckett, which Beckett has been around for decades.
Did they do everything, or what did they do?
Beckett did a little bit of everything. They did cards, they did comics. They were the first ones to do VHS tapes. They were the only ones in the industry currently doing manga. Beckett had been around for 40 years, actually. So Collectors Universe, Collectors Holding, they bought out Beckett. So you got that group, and then you also have CCG, which is known as Certified Collectibles Group. They're the ones that own like CGC, NGC, PMG, JSA. They're based out of Florida. Those are the two main companies. You got Collectors Holdings, which owns PSA, owns Beckett. They're based out of California. Beckett was based out of Texas. And then you got CCG, which is based out of Florida. So Collectors Holding, Collectors Universe, they are the biggest that's out there. They own PSA, which does cards and comics. They own SGC, which does cards. They own Beckett, which does cards, comics, and manga. They own PCGS, which is coins. That's like the top dog in coins. And then they also own WADA. They were the first ones to do graded video games. Collectors Universe, Collectors Holdings, they're the biggest ones out there. I guess let's start off with coins. You know a lot about coins.
I've sold a couple.
One thing that's universal across all three categories, cards, comics, and coins, if it is a new or modern, just came out, it is almost pointless to grade unless it gets the perfect grade.
This is true.
Which in coins would be MS 70 or PF 70, depending on if it came out of a proof or not.
If you're talking coinage, I see a lot of new graded silver eagles, and everybody makes a big deal about when they bring them in. Oh, they're either always 69 or 70, and they don't bring usually a $10 or $15 premium for being graded, because you can't get them graded for, I don't know, the last 2 pennies I sent in have graded cost me I think $120. So
for a penny.
Yeah, for a penny. And I kind of look at that as a side hustle for PCGS. I assume the only way it can be financially reasonable is that they're buying them direct from wholesaler or the mint, and it's a side hustle. They're grading them, running them through it. Really doesn't cost them anything. Probably got a computer grading them. I assume all that's AI now. And they're selling them and getting a premium. So on something like that, the juice isn't worth the squeeze, as a guy used to tell me. But I did sell a 1880 Morgan Dollar today. Sold it way too cheap, but he was a good buddy. Graded MS63 with some really nice toning.
Which for the year, that's a vintage coin. That'd be very good.
That coin would be worth grading, because I sold it under the money, but the guy's been buying coins for 15 years, so I had to throw him a bone. It all depends on the item.
Yeah.
If you walk in here with some coinage, some of them's graded. If it's Eagles, probably not going to make much difference if I'm buying them. I might pay $1 or $2 closer, just because they do sell a little better if they're graded.
Yeah.
But it really doesn't increase their value. Now, 30 years from now, that might change.
Yep. On a modern coin, honestly, if one comes in, it's MS69, most of the time it's like, yeah, we'll pay at spot or maybe $1 behind spot. But depending on the date and the mint mark, if it's a West Point or something, an MS70 might bring a little bit of a premium, but it's very minimal.
We're basically talking about new mint eagles.
Yeah.
For you to buy one, say from SD Bullion, a regular eagle, and send it in and get it graded,
it's not worth messing with.
Oh, it's a waste of money.
Yeah.
That's why people will buy them from PCGS already graded.
Yeah.
That's why I say it's kind of a side hustle. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, it's a give me for the customer, but
right. You look at like comics. So comics have a little bit different scale. They start at a 9.8. And a modern comic book, one that's come out in the last really 5, really even 10 years, if it's not a 9.8, it hardly brings any money.
So that fall in the same category as New Eagles.
As the New Eagles,
Okay.
Yep. So like, I'm a big Batman fan. There's a lot of Batman books that I send in to get graded because I like the covers. I like the arts. It's kind of like this. It just looks good. Like to display it. It just looks good.
No, I'm still kind of bummed you sold my Doc's Savage Man of Bronze one. I should have kept that.
I know it, but we made money on it.
Well, I guess.
But let's take
which one do you want? This one, the 9.8?
Yeah, let's do the 9.8 Spider-Man.
Oh no! There you go.
So this book's a little bit different. It's a modern book. It came out in the 90s, and I know that's 36 years ago, but that's still considered a modern comic book. The 90s was kind of like the wax pack era for cards, mass printed comic books. There was like, I want to say,
that'd be the same as the NASCAR diecast stuff.
Yes.
Late 80s into the 90s into the 2000s, where they changed over just dime a dozen.
Yes, I want to say there's close to 1 million copies of this printed. Because the print run was so high, it's Spider-Man #1. It's an iconic cover by Todd McFarlane. But if it's a 9.6, it's worthless.
What do you got on that?
So this is a 9.8. I got $100. Anybody comes in, I'll sell it to you for $80.
What would it cost you to grade that?
If you just send it in to have it graded, it'd be about, by the time you add shipping, you're going to pay about $40.
With the hard case? That's all included?
That's all included.
Yeah, it's not terrible, but...
Now, if it needs pressed and cleaned, you're going to add another $15 on top of that. So a 9.6, I sell those for $40. You basically try to get your grading fees out. And that's the modern era of comic books. If it's not the 9.8, the perfect grade, nobody wants them.
So anything lower than that, you'd lose money.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you don't take the time to like study it, train your eye on how to grade one, looking for blemishes, you're just going to lose money.
That's the other thing too. I assume the comic books are the same as the coinage. We sent some paper money in, the large notes. To me, with my naked eye, back when I could see a little bit, I thought they were very pristine. And PCGS just hammered us on the grade, and my customer was not happy. I'm not saying they were wrong. I'm just saying that's how it worked out.
Yeah.
It's kind of a gamble. You never know what you're going to get. And
Yep.
part of it depends on who's looking at it, what kind of day they're having. All that stuff would factor in. We don't send a lot of paper money in. I think it'd be the same as the comic books. I mean, you got to look at the edges, the color, the
Corners.
yeah.
You brought up a good point, the grader. So like on new stuff, typically new stuff, the grading companies have the young trainees doing it. Not that they're new, but they're younger.
So you should slip a 5-spot in your book when you send it in.
No,
probably
no.
not.
But older vintage stuff, that's saved for the veteran graders because the veteran graders have been doing it for a long time. Grading's been going on for 40 years. Just in the last 5 years, really even the last 3 years, is when AI has ramped up. And the most important thing to a grading company was consistency.
I'm going to assume they're going to start implementing AI to do some of the grading for them. Would that be correct?
So I'm not sure about CCG out of Florida. I know PSA has already said they're moving to an AI assist model where AI is filtering out certain things, and then the grader comes in and says, okay, this is what the AI has suggested, this is what AI has spotted, and it's more or less just a check off. Okay, it says there's these 4 blemishes, or these 4 blemishes here, yep, check, check, oh, one's no. That's what they're doing. They're calling it AI assist. There's a small startup company that's been out for like a year and a half now, I think, called Tag, and all they do is cards, and it's 100% AI. They even have like machines. It's actually kind of cool. They call them like these vending machines at like certain conventions. You can go up, put your cards in. It will look down, run its scans and images, encapsulate it, and grade it right there in front of you.
Have you seen enough AI stuff that you get a feel for the difference or quality of the grading?
For sure. So for example, Tag, they've admitted they will only, it's like 90s and forwards all they will grade because they cannot train the AI to properly detect artificial aging like in old vintage cards.
They would, I guess you could do that. You do it with coins.
So it's not trained. There's some things that you can't tell until you've touched it. So the vintage stuff, definitely you want to stay away from the AI. You want somebody actually physically laying eyes on it, holding it, touching it.
I know when we were sending comic books in, he was talking to me about how he determined what comic to send to what grader.
Right. That's a good point. So back when I was sending these in, so PSA launched their comic book division, it was almost a year ago, July. At that time, Beckett had not been bought out by PSA. So Beckett's comic division was called CBCS, and there was then CGC. Those were the 3 companies that I could choose from. And I thought, rule of thumb, never send in to a grading company that's just launched. Even if they're a reputable company like PSA, don't send your stuff into them the first 2 months they're open. So I was basically comparing it between CGC and CBCS, which was owned by Beckett. And Beckett, how they do it is they just simply charge by the year. If it was 75 and older, this was a flat fee. If it was 76 and newer, it was a flat fee. Whereas CGC is a little different. Not only did they break it down by age, they also break it down by price. So it's like $28 plus insurance and shipping if you wanted to send in a modern comic book that's worth under $400. If it was worth over $400, they bump you up to the high value tier, which would be like 40 some dollars plus insurance and shipping. Now these were vintage books, so since they were older, there was an additional fee. So by the time I was having them pressed and cleaned, it was running me close to $60 to $70 a book to grade.
Because I know you send 2 different places to save a few dollars on the grading.
Correct.
Like I know on coins, PCGS and NGC is your 2 main ones. There are other ones. PCGS is the top dog. I know NGC is a good company, and I don't really know why, but they're like second tier to PCGS. Those guys would disagree, and I don't mean to offend them because they do great. But in the market, PCGS rules the roost from what I can tell.
Yep.
And people, they feel that it's a better. I guess my question is, do you feel like price point was your concern, or you could get a better, like they'll say, well, PCGS is a little stricter on their grading.
Yep.
They run it a little tighter.
Yep.
I don't know if that's true, but would that be true with the Comics.
Definitely applies to the comics.
So who would you say if you won the fairs where they really, that's what you got when you're done?
Yeah, as far as consistency of grade, once you got to the high end, the high grades, people put their trust in CGC. So, for example, we had that Werewolf by Night, first appearance of Moon Knight. It was a very expensive book. And really, when you look at books, if it was under $1,000, there's no price comparison between CBCS and CGC. They about bring the same money. So if it's under $1,000, you choose a company that graded cheaper, which CBCS had cheaper grading fees. When you got to books that were over $1,000, CGC costed more to grade, but they almost always bring a premium on the secondary market.
Did Moon Knight have the epic cover?
It did.
Oh boy, epic cover. There we
It
go.
did. And that's a good thing to bring up. So CBCS, regardless of what it graded, they will never charge you more money. CGC, if it grades a high grade and it's worth a lot of money, they will charge you more.
So it's kind of like it incentivizes them to bump your grade.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And that's, part of the tinfoil hack, grading is a scam thing. It's tough to say because on the one hand, I get it. You just graded me this Werewolf by Night, first appearance of Moon Knight. It's worth $7,000. And you expect me to be happy to grade it for $45.
Absolutely, I do.
Well, they charged us a percentage, and it was like well over $200 to grade the book. Now, that's from a seller's point of view. You want to grade with the company that brings the biggest money.
Mm-hmm.
If they bring the same money, then you grade with the company that charges you the least amount.
And maybe they know that's why they charge you extra, because they know if they give you the grade, it's going to bring you the extra.
Now, personally, as a collector, I go based off the product.
You go off the price because you're just freaking cheap.
Well, no, that's not entirely true.
It's mostly true.
Like a CGC case, their cases are junk.
Shh, don't say that on air. They're going to get me sued.
You barely put it on the counter and you stare at it meanly and the thing cracks. Whereas a CBCS case, I could toss it and drop on the floor and there wouldn't be a scratch on it. It's the same with these PSA books back here. You could lob someone's head off with one of them things.
We don't recommend it, but it could be used. We could get kicked off for selling deadly weapons.
It's a home defense weapon.
That's true.
They talked so long, we split the episode. Episode 7.2 will drop June 25th.